I'm a brain doctor, and I have to be honest with you. What I'm about to say will sound insane, but I've seen it too many times in the clinic to stay quiet. Out of all the patients who walk into my hospital with strokes, so many of them weren't triggered by heavy smoking, or late night drinking, or even genetics. No, what tipped them over the edge was their shower. Think about it. There are only two main types of strokes: ischemic, where a clot blocks the blood supply, and hemorrhagic, where a vessel bursts under pressure. Yet the habits that set them off are dozens. Some you'd expect, but others? They're downright shocking. I once treated a 70-year-old man who collapsed in his bathroom because he showered right after a heavy dinner. Another woman, 74, thought her floral soap was harmless. Turns out the chemicals inside were spiking her blood pressure every single day until one morning her brain finally snapped. That's why I'm here today, to warn you about the 8 shower habits that silently raise your stroke risk overnight. Some of them are obvious, but others are hiding in plain sight. The wrong timing, the wrong temperature, even the wrong soap can push your brain's delicate circulation past the point of no return. And the most dangerous one of all, it's the one nearly every senior does daily without thinking, and I promise you, it will leave you stunned. And listen, I'm not asking you to take my word for it. Every study, every reference I mention is linked in the description below. So don't just take this blindly. Go see the science with your own eyes. Before we dive in, here's something I'd love to know. What time of day do you usually shower? And where are you watching from? And just so you know, we're not leaving your comments in the dark. I personally sit down every night and go through them, replying one by one. Now, without any further ado, let's start with number 8 on our list. And it's a habit most seniors do right after dinner, without realizing how dangerous it can be. Number 8. Showering right after a big meal. You might think the worst thing about showering after dinner is a little indigestion. But for seniors, this simple routine can actually push the brain into stroke territory. After eating, blood rushes to the stomach and intestines to help with digestion. Doctors call this postprandial hyperemia, fancy term, but all it means is extra blood in the gut. The problem? That blood has to come from somewhere. And in seniors over 60, with narrowed arteries, the brain is often the one robbed of its share. Meet Harold. He is 72 years old and retired from teaching. Every evening, he loved finishing dinner and heading straight to the shower. One night, dizziness struck so suddenly he had to grab the wall for balance. What he didn't know was that his brain was starved of oxygen for those few critical minutes, a perfect setup for stroke. Research backs this up. A Japanese study in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society followed seniors who bathed or showered immediately after meals. They found these individuals were 27% more likely to experience dangerous blood pressure drops and fainting episodes compared to those who waited at least 30 minutes. And every fainting episode increases the chance of clot formation or vessel rupture, both leading directly to stroke. Why does this happen? The body can't be in two places at once. It diverts blood flow to aid digestion, while a hot shower dilates blood vessels even more, making the blood pool in the skin and gut. The brain, especially in seniors with already reduced circulation, is left scrambling. That lightheaded feeling, that's your neurons crying for oxygen. Keep starving them, and they die fast. The fix is simple. Never jump straight into the shower after a big meal. Give your body at least 30 to 45 minutes to digest before stepping into the bathroom. Think of it as letting the traffic on your blood highway clear before asking it to handle another detour. But as concerning as this is, the next shower habit messes with your brain's blood pressure in an even more dangerous way. Number 7. Extremely hot showers at night. There's something soothing about a steaming hot shower before bed. It relaxes the muscles, melts away stress, and seems harmless. But here's what most seniors don't realize. Extreme heat in the shower can spike your stroke risk overnight. When hot water hits the skin, blood vessels expand rapidly. This is called vasodilation. In a healthy young body, that's manageable. But in seniors, The sudden vessel expansion is followed by a dangerous rebound. Blood pressure drops, the heart races to compensate, and circulation becomes unstable. The brain, already vulnerable, gets slammed with rapid swings in pressure that can rupture weakened arteries or loosen existing clots. Science confirms this danger. A study published in Stroke Journal found that seniors exposed to frequent hot baths or showers had significantly higher fluctuations in systolic blood pressure, with some individuals experiencing swings of over 40 millimeters of mercury within minutes. For context, that's the difference between normal blood pressure and a hypertensive crisis. These swings directly damage the fragile inner lining of arteries, making them more prone to rupture or clot formation. Hot showers also raise body temperature, which can overstimulate the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response. That triggers irregular heartbeats in vulnerable seniors, and irregular heartbeats are one of the most common causes of embolic strokes, where a clot travels to the brain and cuts off circulation. Does this mean seniors should avoid warm showers completely? Not at all. The key is moderation. Lukewarm to warm water is generally safe, but avoid steaming hot temperatures, especially at night. If you love a hot shower, shorten the duration and never go from extreme heat directly into a cold room, which adds even more vascular stress. And as alarming as hot showers can be, the next habit may surprise you even more because it has nothing to do with temperature, but everything to do with timing. Number 6. Standing still too long in hot water. It sounds harmless standing under a warm stream, letting the water pound on your shoulders, eyes closed, mind drifting. For many seniors, it's the most relaxing part of the day. But here's the hidden danger. Standing motionless in hot water for too long can quietly push your body toward a stroke. Here's why. When you stand still in the shower, gravity pulls blood down into your legs. Normally, your calf muscles act like pumps, pushing blood back toward the heart with every step. But when you're not moving, that pump shuts down. Combine that with hot water, which causes blood vessels in your skin to expand and hold even more blood. And suddenly, circulation slows dramatically. Less blood makes it back to the heart. Less is pushed out to the brain, and oxygen supply drops right when your neurons need it most. Meet George. He is 70 years old and retired from construction. He loved standing in the shower, steam filling the room, water beating down on his shoulders. But one morning, after 10 minutes of stillness, he suddenly felt the floor tilt beneath him. His vision narrowed to a tunnel. He had experienced a near syncope episode, a fainting spell that doctors later told him was a warning sign of compromised blood flow to the brain. The problem compounds at night. After a long day, seniors may already be mildly dehydrated, with thicker, slower-moving blood. Add in standing in hot water, and clots form more easily. If one of those clots travels to the brain, it becomes a deadly embolic stroke. Doctors have long known that immobility and heat are two of the fastest ways to destabilize circulation. The shower is one of the few places where both collide without you realizing it. So, what's the fix? The solution isn't giving up long showers, but keeping the body gently active. Shift your weight from foot to foot. Flex your calves occasionally. Don't let the water turn you into a statue. And keep the shower under 10 minutes if it's warm, under 5 if it's hot. Think of it this way. Your brain needs circulation like a car engine needs fuel. You wouldn't let the pump stall. Don't do it in the shower either. And here's the scariest part. While standing still too long in hot water quietly starves the brain, the next habit on this list doesn't starve it. It whiplashes it. It jolts your blood vessels like a roller coaster, and for seniors, that's a setup for disaster. Number 5. Sudden ice-cold showers. Cold showers are trendy these days. You've probably heard athletes, biohackers, even celebrities talk about how plunging into ice-cold water boosts energy, burns fat, or strengthens immunity. And yes, in carefully controlled settings, short bursts of cold exposure can be beneficial. But here's the catch. For seniors over 60, suddenly switching to icy water in the shower can be one of the most dangerous habits for the brain. It can turn a relaxing routine into the perfect trigger for stroke. Research proves how risky this is. A study published in Circulation examined elderly volunteers exposed to cold water immersion. They recorded sharp increases in systolic blood pressure averaging 25 millimeters of mercury, along with dangerous heart rhythm changes. Younger participants adapted quickly, but seniors had prolonged stress responses lasting several minutes, increasing their likelihood of vascular accidents. That means while a 30-year-old might feel refreshed, a 65-year-old could be walking a fine line between normal circulation and a vessel rupture in the brain. There's another hidden layer to this. Sudden cold exposure stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, the body's fight or flight circuit. Adrenaline floods the bloodstream, making the heartbeat faster and harder. For someone with atrial fibrillation, a common irregular heartbeat in seniors, this can throw the rhythm completely out of sync. And when a heartbeat turns chaotic, clots can form inside the heart chambers. If one of those clots breaks loose, it can travel straight to the brain and block an artery, a textbook ischemic stroke. The danger is highest when seniors go from warm to freezing instantly, a practice called contrast showering. Does this mean seniors should never use cold water? Not exactly. The key is gradual adaptation. Lukewarm water, slowly lowered over several minutes, allows the body to adjust without triggering a massive shock response. And even then, limit the exposure to a few seconds rather than minutes. For older adults, the invigorating jolt can too easily become a medical emergency. And if you think cold showers are bad, wait until you hear the next habit. Because while cold water squeezes your vessels tight, this next one starves your brain of oxygen in a way most seniors never even consider. Number 4. Washing hair with head bent forward. It feels like the most ordinary thing in the world. Leaning forward in the shower, letting the water run through your hair as you scrub shampoo into your scalp. But here's what most seniors don't realize. Bending your head forward while washing your hair can instantly raise your stroke risk. And it all comes down to how blood flows, or rather, how it stops flowing when the neck is bent at a sharp angle. When you tip your head down, you compress the carotid arteries and vertebral arteries in your neck. These are the main highways that carry oxygen-rich blood to the brain. In younger people with flexible arteries, blood still squeezes through. But in seniors over 60, where vessels are often stiffened by years of plaque buildup, that bend can narrow the passage by half or more. Imagine stepping on a garden hose. The flow instantly weakens. Except here, it's not water being blocked, it's oxygen to your brain cells. Meet Leonard. He is 74 years old and retired from accounting. He always washed his hair with his head bent forward, the shower pounding on the back of his skull. One morning, as he lathered, he suddenly saw flashes of light and felt his right arm go numb. Luckily, it lasted only a few minutes. It was a transient ischemic attack, TIA, often called a mini-stroke. Doctors later explained that bending his head had temporarily choked off blood supply through his vertebral arteries, starving part of his brain of oxygen. Symptoms are often ignored at first. Lightheadedness, a sudden black curtain over one eye, or brief weakness in the hand are brushed off as just getting dizzy in the shower. But those are neurological alarms. They mean the brain is already running on fumes. The tragedy is that seniors often dismiss these early signs until one day, the blockage lasts longer, and the brain damage becomes permanent. And here's the haunting truth. While washing hair bent forward can choke off blood flow temporarily, the next habit on our list doesn't just block circulation. It throws your entire cardiovascular system into a shockwave of instability. And that shock, for seniors, is one of the fastest shortcuts to stroke. Before we dive deeper, show your support by liking this video and subscribing. You can't afford to miss the next secret. Number 3. Showering first thing in the morning. Most people love the ritual. Roll out of bed, stumble into the bathroom, and let the shower wake you up. For seniors, though, showering first thing in the morning is not just routine. It can be a hidden danger to brain health. The reason? Your body is at its most vulnerable state in those early hours, and adding the stress of a shower can push it over the edge. Here's why mornings are risky. Overnight, while you sleep, your body becomes mildly dehydrated. You lose water through breathing, sweating, and hours without drinking. That makes your blood thicker and more sluggish by the time you wake up. At the same time, your blood pressure naturally rises in the early morning. Doctors call this the morning surge. Studies show stroke risk is highest between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m., precisely when most seniors head to the shower. Add hot water, sudden movement, and standing in one position, and you've created the perfect storm. In the morning, your autonomic nervous system, the body's automatic regulator, is still adjusting from sleep mode. That means sudden temperature changes or positional shifts, like bending to wash your legs, can cause dramatic blood pressure swings. One moment it's sky high, the next it crashes. For aging arteries, those swings damage the delicate lining, making clots more likely to form and travel to the brain. And here's the sneaky part. The symptoms often start subtly. A wave of nausea, a brief loss of balance, or slurred words that vanish after a minute. Many seniors shrug these off, chalking them up to just waking up groggy. But these are mini strokes TIAs, silent warnings that the brain is under attack. Each ignored episode raises the chance that the next one will be the full-blown catastrophe. What's the safer routine? Hydrate first. Before you'd even think about stepping into the shower, drink a glass of water to thin your blood and stabilize circulation. Give your body at least 20 to 30 minutes to wake up and regulate itself. Eat a light snack if possible, since an empty stomach only worsens the instability. And if you must shower in the morning, keep the water lukewarm and the duration short. Think of it not as a luxury, but as an activity that requires preparation. But as unsettling as this sounds, the next shower habit climbs even higher on the danger scale. Because while mornings already set the stage for vulnerability, this next mistake combines temperature extremes with vascular stress in a way that can rupture the brain's delicate vessels in seconds. Number 2. Switching between hot and cold water rapidly. Some people swear by it. They call it contrast showering, the practice of alternating between hot and cold water to jolt the body awake. Athletes do it after workouts. Spa resorts advertise it as a way to improve circulation. But here's the dangerous truth. For seniors, rapidly switching between hot and cold water in the shower doesn't just stimulate circulation. It can destabilize it so violently that the brain's blood vessels are left one shock away from a stroke. Here's what happens inside your body. Hot water causes vasodilation, which means your blood vessels widen, your blood pressure drops, and blood pools in the skin. Then bam, the icy cold water slams your system, forcing vessels to constrict in seconds, driving blood pressure up like a rocket. This back and forth creates extreme turbulence in your arteries. If you've got stiff, plaque-lined vessels, that turbulence can shear off a fragment of plaque. That fragment becomes a clot. And when it reaches the brain, it blocks oxygen flow and causes an ischemic stroke. Meet Frank. He is 71 years old and retired from the post office. He read online that alternating hot and cold showers could boost his immune system. One morning, he cranked the water hot, then twisted it to freezing. Within minutes, his chest tightened, and he felt his heart skip wildly. At the hospital, doctors discovered he had triggered atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat, which allowed a clot to form and lodge in a brain artery, a direct cause of the stroke that almost killed him. So what should seniors do? The answer is simple: avoid rapid extremes. If you enjoy cooler water, transition gradually, not suddenly. Let your body adjust over minutes, not seconds. And skip the contrast altogether if you have a history of high blood pressure, atrial fibrillation, or previous TIAs. What the wellness world markets as rejuvenating can actually be a vascular time bomb for seniors. And here's the terrifying part: contrast showers aren't even the most dangerous habit on this list. Because while hot to cold swings slam your arteries with whiplash, the number one shower mistake is so deceptively innocent that millions of seniors do it every single night without a second thought. Yet studies reveal it may be the single most powerful shower-related trigger for stroke. Number 1. Using harsh or strongly scented soap. This one shocks people the most. Out of all the dangerous shower habits, using harsh or strongly scented soap seems the least harmful. After all, it's just soap, right? Something you rinse off in seconds. But here's the unsettling truth. For seniors, certain soaps can directly raise stroke risk, not by what they do to your skin, but by what they do to your blood vessels, nervous system, and even your brain. The danger starts with chemicals called phthalates and synthetic fragrances. These compounds are absorbed through the skin and inhaled in the steam-filled shower. They don't just stay on the surface. They enter the bloodstream and begin interfering with the body's vascular and neurological systems. In younger adults, the body can often detoxify them quickly. But in seniors, with slower metabolism and reduced liver and kidney function, these chemicals linger, and that's when the trouble begins. Meet Marjorie. She is 73 years old and retired from retail. She loved using floral-scented soaps, believing they kept her feeling fresh and youthful. Over time, she began experiencing pounding headaches after showers, followed by sudden spikes in blood pressure. One morning, she staggered out of the bathroom, unable to speak clearly. Doctors diagnosed her with a stroke and pointed out a grim possibility. Her blood vessels, already weakened with age, had been inflamed and destabilized by years of exposure to harsh soap chemicals. What makes this habit especially dangerous is how invisible it feels. Unlike fainting, dizziness, or weakness, the symptoms build slowly: chronic headaches, mild chest tightness, or restless sleep. Seniors often dismiss these as just aging, never realizing their daily soap could be a silent trigger. By the time a stroke strikes, the connection is almost always overlooked. So, what's the safer choice? Switch to mild, fragrance-free, and chemical-free soaps designed for sensitive skin. Look for labels that say phthalate-free, paraben-free, and fragrance-free. These reduce chemical absorption and minimize vascular stress. And keep showers short. Long exposure only increases absorption through the skin and lungs, and that's why this one earns the top spot. Because millions of seniors do it nightly, without a second thought, believing they're protecting their hygiene when in fact, they may be poisoning their circulation. So there you have it. 8 everyday shower habits that can quietly raise your stroke risk overnight. From showering right after meals, to scalding hot water, to the subtle dangers of scented soaps, each habit chips away at the brain's delicate circulation. For seniors, every one of these habits can mean the difference between a refreshing shower and a catastrophic trip to the emergency room. And let me leave you with this. Every reference I've mentioned is linked in the description below. Don't take my word blindly. Check the science for yourself. Before we wrap up, here's a quick question. What time of day do you usually shower? And do you ever notice feeling dizzy, weak, or lightheaded after? Drop your answer in the comments. We are reading and replying to every single one. If you've got any questions or thoughts, drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching.